today I feel very strongly that we'll be called to have some sort of support, maybe some sort of firm support. So if you have a block or a bolster or a more firm cushion or a folded blanket, feel free to grab that now. Okay, it's 8:01, so we'll get started. Today I felt called to do something a little different from the norm. I've been thinking a lot about the Emperor card, and I have pulled out one from each of my decks that I have. The reason why I've been thinking about the Emperor is that we're living in 2020, which 2 + 2 = 4. So if you practice yoga in that way, we can consider 2020 being an Emperor year because it's the 4th card in the major arcana. This is the Rider-Waite Tarot deck. And again, out of the norm, instead of just showing you and letting you absorb it, I just want to point out some specific things here. Just look at his face, what that looks like. And then also notice how he is positioned in regards to his background, the mountains. This is the deck we usually use. It is a picture of Alexander the Great. It's interesting, it's the only one in the deck that's an image of an image. So, and it's also the only one that shows a male. And then this is Wild Unknown by Kim Kranz. She doesn't use humans, she uses plants and animals. And I want to point out the sun is in line with the tree there. So that's just one thing to notice. We're going to begin by meditating on the Emperor. And as you find a comfortable seat to meditate, I'll tell you a little bit about the Emperor so you know what it is we're meditating on. The Emperor, again, 4th card in the major arcana. It is right after the Empress and right before the Hierophant. The Emperor represents our father figure, so to speak. If we view the deck in terms of progressing through our lives, we can talk about the Fool, which is the very beginning, Magician, which is like conception, the beginning of an action, High Priestess, which is the time that we take to pause and reflect, the number 2 being duplication or reflection. Number 3 is the Empress. Fool is 0, by the way. That's why the 4th card is number 3. And the Empress, we can think of the mother. So we're coming into this earth and our sense of nurturing is being developed. When we move into the Emperor, it's our sense of perception, of learning, and more of a masculine influence rather than the feminine influence that the Empress brings. Within the 3 different decks I have, they have 3 very different images and 3 different interpretations of this emperor. Some feeling a little more positive and some feeling maybe not as positive. So trying to get a clear, unbiased picture of what this archetype means, we can think of the air element or thought. We can think of what we might have been taught at an early age. And we can think of the archetype of a father. So find your seat for a moment. Find your entire body. Notice where your head is in relation to all of that. Good. Let's take a deep breath together. Notice your thoughts. And see if you can step back into how certain thoughts were developed. See if you can recognize any strong influences we might have had in regarding our education, our sense of learning, and how we understand the world. Take a few moments to really sit with these thoughts. Feel them in your head. We can ask ourselves, how have our thoughts been shaped? And when we think of the number 4, we can think of the shape of a square. Seeing these 4 lines come together, that is the shape of the emperor. There is a sense of structure, discipline, 90-degree angles, rigidity perhaps. And noticing your thoughts, do they even fit in the shape of a square? Let's take another breath. Breathe it in through the center of your forehead, through the third eye. When you exhale, send the awareness down to your root, to the floor, to your seat. And then notice the entire seat beneath you. Notice all parts of the body that make contact, grounding here. The most beneficial way we can use the emperor, this sense of structure, is as support. With your mind's eye, draw a square around yourself on the floor. Just noticing the sense of closing in, like a protective little cube. Allowing these 4 lines that you draw to provide protection. These are two other elements of the Emperor. Being a provider and being a protector. Take a few moments to really sit in this cube you've created here. We can be our own fathers, our own emperors. And we can ask ourselves, what am I protective of? And what should I protect? I regret saying the word should already. What can I protect? I won't should all over you. What can I protect? What can I provide? And can what I provide perhaps soften this shape, allow a little more fluidity, maybe a little more softness in this harsh world we're living in right now? What can you protect? What can you provide? We'll sit with this for a few moments in meditation, really contemplating this. If you notice your thoughts get unproductive, notice or remember that you're in your cube, your square, you're okay, you're safe. Noticing your seat with your next exhale. With your inhale, send the awareness up through the back of the spine to the very top of the head. When you exhale, open mouth, sigh. And you can slowly begin to open your eyes. While we meditated on protection and providing, I drew two cards for it. first one is the Three of Swords. This is regarding protection. So you see a little bit of conflict there. And then for providing, I drew the Ten of Cups. The positions of their body, the waterfall, the rainbow. We'll talk a little bit about this. But first, let's move a little bit. Seated cat-cows or traditional cat-cows on your hands and knees, whatever feels right, just kind of wiggle your spine and body. I'll demo on my hands and knees, but you're absolutely welcome to do these spinal movements while you sit. And we'll take about 12 or 15 rounds of breath, nice and slow. Really filling the lungs to their fullest capacity with your inhale. And allow the air to be pressed out deeply and slowly with your exhale. Good. Wiggling around from side to side, perhaps some circular flowy movements. But as you move, remain grounded and really notice what parts of the body are touching the floor. Good. Notice the next round of breath. Good, and then your choice here, either standing forward fold or downward facing dog. Just take a couple moments to allow the back of your legs to stretch and lengthen, warm up. You might bend the knees a little bit. You can shake the head yes and no. And we'll be here for about 10 to 15 breaths as well. So you can do both down dog or forward fold or just one or just the other. Maybe you do some halfway lifts. Again, allow this to be your own way of connecting to the length of your entire body. Right now, noticing the back of your body. Good. With your exhale, notice your feet on the floor wherever they are. Take one more breath in and out. Good, and then you can come to either your belly or a child's pose. Or option number 3, however you want to chill. Allow yourself to be nice and comfy, maybe supported with a block or bolster or blanket or folded pillow. Notice the floor beneath you, the way you're making contact with it. Really get in your body and notice how it feels now after these moments of movement. Notice if the blood started pumping a little more, and if you can feel the beat of your heart and the sense of rhythm. So let's talk about the Three of Swords. That was the one with the image of the three women with their swords pointing towards each other, challenging one another. Swords rules over the element of air. We can think of this as the mental realm, our thoughts. Thoughts are being challenged. Whoever has control of the situation is being challenged. There might be some tension and drama. I pause because I want my words to be clear. There are a lot of thoughts swirling around in my head, and I'm sure in your heads, and just in the general collective. We are in conflict. Ideas are being challenged. Voices are being heard. Change is inevitable. This is the card for what we're protecting. We are protecting this challenge, this fight, these thoughts, these changes. All sides of the conflict are being protected. What can we provide? The Ten of Cups. The description of the image in the guidebook says, women give thanks for the rain which will ensure a good harvest. Cups rules over emotion, feelings. We're providing a good harvest. We are providing the rain which will ensure a good harvest. We are providing the emotions, the feelings, the compassion, the empathy, the love that will ensure a good harvest. There's a sense of celebration, of giving thanks of what's being received in this card, like an open-hearted fulfillment and a close connection to others. A close connection to others. While we are unable to be physically close, and I can't hold you or embrace you, I can still be there. I can still connect. We can all still connect through mutual love and understanding. Swords and cups, thoughts and feelings. There's a lot to sift through. What thoughts do you protect? And what feelings do you provide? Deep breath. If you're lying flat on your belly, press back to a child's pose for a brief moment, sinking those hips towards your heels and allowing the knees to open up a little. And while you're in your child's pose, really feel the length of your arms. Lift up your head a little bit and lengthen through the tailbone to the crown of your head, finding some engagement in space between the vertebrae. Good. And then allow the elbows to lift and your arms to spread forward a little more. Then open up the heart a little more and take a deep breath in and out. Good. Allowing the heart to sink down, and we'll slowly walk our hands towards ourselves here. And then we'll come to hero's pose, closing the knees towards one another. You might bring a cushion or block underneath your seat, or you might sit directly on your heels. Let's bring our hands on our laps here and tune into this position. Good. Feeling the tops of the feet and the shins up to the front of the knee, down on the floor. And noticing where the seat is and the two sit bones, whether they be supported by a prop or on your own body. And as if you're dropping an anchor through your tailbone, really root down here. We can do it with the breath. Allow the exhale to send that anchor down. Good. Notice the hips. See if you can find that square in your pelvis, the shape of a square. Oh wait, our pelvis isn't a perfect square? Maybe what our emperor has taught us wasn't perfect, the things we learned. Notice your shoulders in relation to your hips. Take a few breaths here to really notice all the space between the shoulders and hips. The rib cage, the spine, the organs, the lungs, the intestines, the heart. I don't dream often, but I had one the other day. And I don't remember a big part of it. The only thing I remember is that I was holding on to a human torso. No legs, arms, or head. No skin either. I just saw a skinless torso, and I was told to take care of it. I didn't know if that meant to protect it, nurture it, dispose of it. That dream just came to me and it felt relevant at that moment to share with you. I'm still figuring it out what it means. Feel your torso. Again, noticing the hands that are on your lap. We'll send our awareness here now. And then slowly bring the hands to the outside of your hips. You can allow the fingers to point downward and wrap around your hips. Notice what that did to your hips and your shoulders. Noticing those elbows pointing outward, the space that we're creating in our arms here. Good. Noticing the hands, the fingers, the palm, and any exchange of heat that might happen between your thighs, hips rather, and your hands. Feel that heat and energy exchange right there. And then we'll form a fist, holding that in, and then allow the fist to rest on your hips in a way that feels right. Tuning into like a superhero pose. Positioning our bodies like this might actually influence us that we can protect and provide. Yes, we are capable. It may feel daunting, protecting and providing on such a grand scheme, these very, very large issues that we are being faced with. But notice your own cube, that square again, your protective little thing we enclosed ourselves in. What can you protect and provide in here? This is where it all begins. It begins right here with us, protecting ourselves and providing for ourselves, being our own emperors. It starts here before it goes out there. Good. Notice your fists. Begin to soften them. Begin to soften your elbows and shoulders. And allow the fingertips to come towards the floor. Good. Feel the ground. The earth has you. Breathe her in. Let out a sigh. Allow the palms to face up, opening up in the heart, feeling that twist in the wrists ever so gently. And then at your own pace, raise the arms up overhead, nice and slowly, noticing how the heart responds to it, how the shoulders and hips respond to it. Good. Whenever the hands are up, breathe in through the fingertips, spread them wide like antenna. Maybe our hands reached out of our cubes for a bit so we can pick up on those other thoughts, those around us, if we feel ready to receive that. Breathe in. Bring the hands together. Exhale, lower to the heart. Feel your own heartbeat if you can tune into that. And then slowly bow your head towards your hand, towards your heart, dropping the chin. Honoring any insights that have come up to you for you so far. Honoring what you're holding in your heart. Honoring this practice. When you're ready, come onto your back. And you might bend the knees in towards your chest, rock from side to side perhaps. Maybe the feet are flat on the floor and the knees are bent. And you drop them from side to side. Wiggle around for a little bit. And then we'll all find ourselves and find one another here with the backs of our heads down, noticing the backs of the shoulders, the backs of the hips. And then with knees bent, place the bottoms of the feet on the floor. Good. And we can bring our hands on our pelvis, on the tops of our hips or the outer hips, whatever kind of feels right for us, where the hands naturally want to go. See if you can feel your hip bones or the muscles or the joints or just anything that you feel here. Notice what you feel when you drag the right heel and extend the right leg, allowing the leg to drop long on the floor. Notice what you feel in your hands and your hips when you slowly rock that left knee from side to side a little, opening up and then maybe crossing it over the other way. Maintaining the bottom of the foot on the floor, kind of rocking the knee from side to side. Do you feel how the pelvis responds to this movement? Do you feel any engagement of your structure here? How the parts and pieces come together to work, to make movement? Good, and then we'll come to a modification of a tree pose by just dropping that left knee out and bringing the bottom of the foot to the right leg. The best way to do tree, maybe, we're lying down. No balancing, allowing it to be a hip opener. You might have some support under that left thigh or knee by placing a blanket, cushion, or block there. And then you can remove your hands. Let's open them from side to side. Maybe putting them up overhead, maybe doing cactus elbows. Just allowing like a little bit of openness to feel the back of the shoulders, the back of the heart rooting down on the floor. And we'll take about 12 or so breaths here. Just really deeply examine the body. And then just let ourselves chill. And let it go. Good, another breath. When you're ready, hug that left knee into your chest. You can keep that right leg long. Then we'll cross this knee over for a spinal twist. Allow the hips to be stacked, and this knee can be supported again with any sort of prop. We can think of, if we're using the prop, that we're tuning into the Emperor, getting a little bit of structure, support, guidance. And feel this twist, allowing the left shoulder to drop. Maybe you twist in the neck too. The gaze goes over that way. A few breaths, nice and deep. Make movement with these breaths. Good, one more. Great, return to your back and take these next few breaths to do any intuitive movements that feel right for you to recenter and recalibrate. Good, find the four corners of your back and place the bottom of the feet on the floor and place the hands on your pelvis again. Notice if you feel any difference from side to side. Do a full body scan for a brief moment just to soften any unnecessary tension. And then allow your exhale to send the awareness back to these hands and your pelvis. Notice what you feel when you drag the left heel down to straighten that leg. Maybe reaching a little bit and then allowing it to soften and lengthen to the floor. And then we can drop our right knee from side to side like windshield wipers. Feel the response. Feel the teamwork of these muscles and joints. And feel the way it might shift the way you're touching the floor. We can still feel stable even when there's movement that is unstable. So our connection with the floor shifting and changing, but we can still remain grounded in this. By noticing we are a part of the shift. We are part of the change. We are part of the whole. Good, dropping that right knee out to the side. Open your arms from side to side. We'll chill out in our supine tree pose here. Breathing into that hip and finding a little moment of stillness. Good, another breath. Draw the right knee into your chest when you're ready. Oh, good, and then come into your spinal twist. Dropping the right shoulder down, feeling the twist towards the right. Good, one more breath. Great, release and then just roll onto your side for a moment. Curl up in a fetal position, maybe even hugging the knees or bringing an arm under your head like a pillow. Find comfort. Pause and reflect. There were a lot of concepts that we worked through today. It's okay if some of them have left your mind already. Just notice what remained. Notice what stuck with you. Hold yourself, breathe it in, breathe it out, and let go of yourself. Come to your final resting pose. It can be Shavasana, flat on your back, or any other way you want to position your body to close out practice here. Allowing yourself to feel comfortable. So maybe bringing a blanket underneath you or on top of you. I'm about to serenade us with singing bowls, so I put in this little microphone extension, hoping that that helps with the sound. Before we get into that, though, notice your breath and your body and be at peace with it, with all of it. Allowing each breath to be an opportunity to find that peace and to spread it around. Begin to deepen your breath. Take another deep breath. When you feel ready, bring movement back into your body. And allow that movement to bring you to that fetal position that you once were in. Lying on your side, getting cozy. Seal in any of the messages that came up for you. When you're ready, we can come to a seat facing the screens and one another, connecting to our torso in some way. I'm personally feeling called to have one hand on the heart, one on the belly. You might do the same, maybe just the heart, maybe hands together at the heart. And come into this. Come into your body. Thank yourself for protecting it and providing for it. When we allow ourselves to be in this place, to pause, to practice this healing, the radical change starts here. And we bring this healing out of our cubes, out into the world. I thank you so much for joining me and practicing. I thank the Emperor, and I thank us for protecting thoughts and providing feelings. I'm going to close out practice with an Om. You're welcome to join me or just hear it. We can inhale. Om. Our voices can harmonize from afar, and I honor that, and I'm grateful. Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. That felt special. Thank you for letting me get a little experimental with how I approach this. That was nice. That felt good.
It was great.
Yeah, the weirder the better. I love
Yeah.
it. Like, ooh, what's this? This is great.
All right. Sleep well. Enjoy the full moon tomorrow. Let's fight the good fight.
Yes, always.
Yes.
Love you.
Love you. Good night.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Look behind you.